Okay, I'm working on the heads for the '01 Mazda Millennia. Anyway, I'm to the point now where I've lapped all the valves. I have cleaned the heads after the valve lapping to my satisfaction. I did a little bit of wiping with cloth and water and different stuff. What made me feel good though that I'd actually cleaned it was I sprayed some carb cleaner kind of stuff through there, and the petrol based, the diesel based cleaner. And then I used an air tool to blast through the it was the valve guide that had me concerned. I don't want to have any lapping compound in that valve guide, really anywhere in the head when I put this back on the car. So anyway, I feel confident I got it off, and then comes the question, okay, well, I gotta get all that off the valves. Got all that off the valves. All right, well, now how am I going to reinstall these valves? Well, that's actually pretty simple. That's the opposite of the way that they came off. This is an aluminum head. There are little washers that sit under the springs. There's an attachment that sits at the end of the spring that gets attached to the valve stem. The valve stem has a little groove. There are these little magnetic pieces that fit into the groove. These pieces are called keepers. Well, my first attempt to reinstall a valve involved me pressing on the pretty tightly wound spring with the spring clamp, valve remover tool, whatever you want to call it. And it took me, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to get those keepers on that valve. And I kept thinking to myself, well, I'm going to get better at this, so it's not going to take as long. The first one's going to take the most time. Well, as I was working on number 2, fortunately, Dallas Makerspace fellow, possibly even the chair of the automotive group, happened by, and he said, well, oh, you're wrestling with the keepers. So evidently these things are called keepers, these little magnetic pieces, these little things. He handed me this. What do you do with this? Then he showed me what you do with this. So I'm going to show you what you do with this. This is how you manage the keepers. Observe. Alright, so here is your valve. I'm going to put it in. I want to make sure it's lubricated. You never want to put a valve into a valve guide unlubricated. Don't do it. It's a bad plan. Will cause you problems down the line. In it goes. Now, with this particular head, I found I had to put a little block of wood underneath to keep the valve up when I'm pressing down on it. Because I'm going to put some pressure on it in order to get it to attach to the keepers properly. So I check, make sure that the piece of wood is in the right place. Good, the valve's not pushing down. Now I'm going to take the spring, the little washer I was telling you about. This washer serves no purpose other than to keep the steel spring from marring or damaging the surface of the aluminum. I guess that the washer is a better surface than the edge of the spring. I didn't drop that in right. Let's try again. Okay, there it goes. It's in. Alright. Here comes the spring. On this particular Mazda head, yellow goes on top. Then there's this doodad. The doodad holds on to the spring and provides a place for the keepers to latch onto, and the keepers latch onto the valve stem into the grooves. The keepers, I think they're too small for the camera setup that I've got going right here to really show you, the configuration of the keepers, but basically they're like little half cylinders, and you put them together, they form a full cylinder. For the Mazda ones I've got here, the fat thicker part of the cylinder goes on the top. That was backward from the first way I tried it. I actually installed them the other way and then got to looking at it and said, that's not right, is it? And it wasn't. So thicker part on top and the other part on the bottom, I just drop it right there in the hole. Even though it doesn't look like it's going to work, have faith, drop it in the hole, take this tool, I don't know where you get it, we have one at DMS, join DMS. Alright, so you just put it right there on top, and somehow it does its keeperistic magic. I put a significant force on the top. Voila! My valve is now in place. The spring is sprung. It's holding on to the valve. The keepers have it. Just leave it up to the special tool and the keepers. Don't overthink this. It's easy once you know that. Anyway, thanks a lot. That's it for me.